Hey, everybody. Sorry for my appearance. I made myself go to the gym after work because I was lazy and didn't get up and go this morning. Otherwise, the show would have been a little bit sooner and maybe a little bit more put together. But we still got a few things to talk about. The Hurricanes have made some lineup changes going into game three, a very pivotal game three, might I add. And make no mistake, the series is on the line for the Canes tonight. If you lose this game, you're more than likely done. Statistically speaking, the odds are not in the Hurricanes' favor, but they have this whole thing about defying statistics and everything. So let's hope that they can do that again tonight. Let's see what else we got here. So, everybody, say hi to Frank the Tank. I condone that name because I have a dog named Frank, and he's over there laying on the floor because it's hot, and he's laying in front of the fan. He says, hence the name. Kyler, what's up, dude? Dig the marksman hat. Thank you. I've got a ton of marksman stuff. One day I'm going to make a video showing off all my. I've got a bigger minor league hockey collection than I do of Kane stuff, and my Kane stuff is like a lot. Let's see. Philip McCrevis, forgive me if I pronounce that incorrectly. I guess you're saying I don't know about starting PK. He hadn't played in a month. That's the one thing I'm a little bit worried about. But when you're a little bit younger of a goalie like Kochekov is, sometimes you can get away with going in a little bit cold. He's probably on a pretty short leash, I would imagine. I personally have a lot of confidence in Kochekov, and I will get to that in a little bit. Travis, good to see you, pal. What's up, man, at work checking in? Hopefully we get the win tonight. I think we will. I would be more worried if the Canes had gotten like blown out in the last couple of games, or they've got some issues, but they can be fixed. So Frank the Tank also says, I'm from Fayetteville, live in Sanford. Fire Ants hat. Yo, I got a ton of Fire Ants stuff. So I'll talk about this real quick before I get to the game. My dad's collection is significantly better than mine. My dad has so many game-worn sweaters from the Fayetteville Force days and the Fire Ants days and now the Marksman. His collection absolutely dwarfs mine. One day when he passes, I already told him I was going to make a museum. There's the other Frank, by the way. You can see him standing up right there. He's probably about to jump on the couch or go get some water. He's got this amazing collection, and one day and he's got a really big collection of like Dale Earnhardt stuff and Atlanta Braves stuff and Kane stuff. And one day I want to make like a little museum out of all of it. It's really cool. Yeah, I've got, so in a way, I like the SPHL more than the NHL in certain ways. I've never really got the chance to make a video about that, but I want to start promoting the SPHL at large. It actually is my favorite league, other than the NHL, obviously. Let's see. Travis C says, what are you most worried about tonight, if anything? The only thing I'm worried about tonight is Carolina not correcting their deficiencies from the previous two games. I think in game two, they took a couple of steps in the right direction, henceforth why they lost in overtime as opposed to regulation. They have to play a complete game tonight. They have to come out in the first. If they have a dominant first shift, my worries will be drastically reduced. I can tell you that. Jersey Sean, what's up, buddy? Rangers have blown 2-0 series lead the last 2 years. Tampa in 22 and Jersey in 23. You're right about that. Rangers also haven't lost a game yet, so beating them tonight could put a ton of pressure on them. Yeah, that's one of the things. I forget who it was, but one of the guys that was on the USSR team that won the 4 gold medals in a row before the Miracle on Ice. Was it Tretiak that said it? I can't remember, but there's a really cool documentary. If you've never seen it, I believe it's called Miracles and Men, I want to say is called. It's the 1980 Olympics from the Soviet perspective with hockey. And he says that some of them were almost happy to see America win because they'd forgotten what it was like to lose. So they lost the knowledge of having the contrast of winning. The Rangers have not lost lately. So when they do finally get one, it's going to sting. It's like, there's times where Carolina this season, they've gone 5, 6, 7 games without losing, or at least not losing in regulation. And then when they lose 2 in a row, the world is coming to an end, for example. So I think that tonight, Rangers fans are going to try and do their things in the building. They talk about how great New York is, yet they moved to North Carolina in droves, like by the truckload. And, they practically are colonizing the triangle, but all they do is talk about how much they hate North Carolina. So, I don't know. I don't like where I live, but I don't bitch about it nearly as much as they do. It's like every other breath with them. So getting to some of the news for today, the big thing is Kochekov. I'll save that for last because that's the point that I want to expound upon the most. So when it comes to the Rangers, I've got a tweet here from Vincent Mercagliano, excuse me. Their lines are pretty much completely unchanged. It's still Kreider, Zibanejad, and Roslovic, Panarin, Trocheck, Lafreniere, Cooley, Winberg, Kako, Vesey, Goodrow, Rempe, and then their defense, Lindgren, Fox, Miller, Schneider, Gustafsson, Trouba. As far as, and I'm not going to reiterate the whole thing about, oh, Igor hadn't allowed more than 3 goals. ESPN told me that so many times the other night, I was about to mute it. Now, here's we know Kuznetsov is going to be back in the lineup tonight. I have yet to see the actual lines here. There was no morning skate. That's part of the reason we don't know the lines, because that's how they figure out what the lines are going to be from line rushes typically. Brendan Moore said the decision to use D'Angelo over Shea on the power play in overtime Tuesday was twofold. He thought D'Angelo could spark the power play and also wanted to take some minutes off of Shea. I totally agree with that. The power play at that point, you had to change something to kind of spark it. And not to mention, D'Angelo does not kill penalties, and he shouldn't. Shea does kill penalties. So he needs to put his minutes elsewhere. Shea is the only true all situations defenseman on the team, in my opinion, other than Burns. The no morning skate thing, I'm kind of baffled by. The big thing, and then the other big thing, they didn't practice yesterday, and Kochekov's going in. So anybody who's got some concerns regarding Kochekov, that's another layer to having the concerns about Kochekov, because he's not even facing any practice rubber right now. I am totally terrified of the idea that they did not have a morning skate, and the first couple of shifts, not even the first period, not even the first 5 minutes of the period, the first couple of shifts, we're going to know if that was truly a bad idea or not. I personally think it was. They probably should have skated, at least if they did like a 30-minute morning skate or something along those lines. And excuse me, I'm going to have to hydrate periodically here since I just got done hitting the bike. The assault bike at the gym is still broken. If y'all follow me on X, you know that I'm really, really mad about that, like at an irrational level. I love that assault bike. All righty. I started using one of those because of the Canes, actually. Funny story. All right, Strogy D. Staying out of the box tonight is going to be crucial. Absolutely. If we don't stay out of the box, we're cooked. Like, people can say the Rangers are power play merchants all day. Power play goals still count. They are an equal value to goals scored 5-on-5 and goals scored on the penalty kill. What is your X? It's the same thing. It's the warning take. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. I'm a little bit more I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm a little bit more reserved on YouTube since it's my primary platform. On X, I'll shoot my mouth off and chirp a little bit harder, but I've also had people coming at me over some of the dumbest shit over there and everything. It's a cesspool. Like, there's times where I think about just narrowing it down to sharing my videos and everything over there, but I've also made some really good connections because of that website. That website is why I met Caniac Report and Caniac Sessions, and we've done a lot of cool stuff together. So I definitely am grateful for it in that regard. And I have a lot of really cool followers that I met over there. So, it's it's twofold. It really is. Because if someone comes on YouTube and starts stuff with me like that one New Jersey guy did, I just hit the whole hide them from channel thing, and he could be commenting on videos and wasting his time, and I don't even know what the hell he's saying. But, it's like virtual duct tape for his mouth. Let's see. Kyler, speaking of, no morning skate, I like. My coach used to roll that out for our high school playoffs to ease us up a bit and not have that kind of anxiety over practice. His subtle way of saying we had to win. And in hindsight, it did for real work. If that's how it works out, I'm totally fine with that. The thing about it is, like I said, we'll know in the first couple of shifts. I see what you're saying about it. The only thing that worried me is, the Canes, they do fight wars of attrition through speed, and I feel like maybe it's better for them to have their legs going and everything like that, but they can get their legs going without a morning skate too. The Canes are, for the most part, as far as the core players go, a relatively young team. The only guy who's kind of on the really far on the wrong side of 30 who's employed a whole lot is Burns, and maybe Jordo as well. That's one of the upsides of having Jack Drury doing as well as he is in the faceoff. If we need a offensive zone faceoff win and someone who has a little bit more of a chance of producing some offense, I think that, instead of putting Jordo out there in select situations, which has been done at times, and maybe put Aho on the wing to open him up for a situation like that. I'm talking about a game on the line offensive zone draw. I think Drury has matured enough to where he can be the face-off guy in that situation. And then if he gets waved out, then either Aho is going to take it or Jarvis is going to take it, because Jarvis was previously a center. He was drafted as a center. I could see him eventually transitioning to that position full-time. Natchez, I think, should have been tried out at center, and it just never happened. That's part of the reason why I think he might be gone in the offseason, because he's made it abundantly clear he does not want to play wing. He wants to play center, and I have to agree with that. I think that's where he'd be best employed, but it just doesn't look like Brendan Moore is going to employ him that way with the Hurricanes. All right, let's see. Travis C. How prevalent do you think the blue shirts will be tonight in PNC? It depends on... Okay, so talking to my friends who are season ticket holders, who I have on here very frequently, there appears to be some efforts by the organization to curtail how often season ticket holders in particular are selling their tickets to road fans, because that's been a problem in the past. Because the road fan, if I was in the same situation, me living up by DC, if I had to pay extra to go to 2 games up here where I don't have to board my dog or bring him with me or go through all kinds of hassle and drive 5-6 hours, if I'm lucky to get down there, then you know, I'm going to do it. So that's why they're willing to pay inordinate prices, and people turn these really big profits on them and everything like that. During the regular season, okay, whatever. During the playoffs, that's completely inexcusable. So if the organization got a hold of that, and maybe some of the fans came to their senses and decided to stop doing that, but we have plenty of turncoat caniacs who, they might wear Kane stuff for games 3 and 4, and then come game 6, they're going to be wearing Rangers stuff if the series is 3-2. Or hell, if the Rangers win tonight, they might be wearing Kane stuff tonight and then wearing Rangers stuff in game 4. Like I said, my friend Jeff, who was there in 2022, I can't say this enough. He said he sat down game 5, because he lives out of state too. Guy in front of him, clear as day, knew exactly who the hell it was wearing Kane stuff in games 5, and he came back wearing Rangers stuff in game 7. That says more about you as a person than it does about your sports fandom. Don't be friends with someone like that. They'll run at the first sign of trouble. All righty. Kyler says Drury has been a bit of a tank. Heavily agreed. Drury has taken a huge step. I don't know if he's like second line center good, like for real, but he's showing signs of it. Everyone's always said that's where his ceiling is, and I'm starting to agree with that. And the other thing about Drury, one of the biggest differences between Drury and KK, when he's playing center and he's playing well, he's a great center, but he can't do anything else. Drury is one of those guys, if you have to pop him on the wing, he doesn't look too out of place. KK looks incredibly uncomfortable on the wing, and that has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that he's had the struggles he's had this season. Strogy D says, yeah, the 2 key faceoffs at the end of game 1 were lost by Aho. Yeah, he was brutal in the circle for a lot of the first game. He was much better in the second one. He won 18 out of 30 in game 2. There was 6 skaters, so I'd rather see Stahl there, win the faceoff, and park it in front of the net. Yeah, either Stahl or Drury, I think, would be good in that situation. That's why I was thinking maybe, depending on what side of the ice it's on, too, we have to consider. No, Drury's a lefty. Yeah, Drury's a lefty, isn't he? Okay, so yeah, that also depends on what side of the ice that the draw is on in that case, maybe as well. But I would say Drury probably gives you a little bit more offensive punch. But if Jordo goes to the front of the net and really parks himself there, no goalie is immune to blindness. And that's one of the other things I'm going to talk about a little bit here in a second. If you have if you take the eyesight away from the goalie, if in the case of someone like Shesterkin, you're not going to beat him with clean looks. If you do beat him with clean looks, you won't do it very often. Greasy goals are what the Hurricanes need to really, really, really start scoring. That's one of the reasons why I wish they would simplify the power play, putting Tony back on it, let him open up the penalty killing formation, let guys cycle a little bit more, find some more open ice, get it to the net first. If it goes in, great. If it doesn't, second efforts, stuff like that. Get it on net. Shoot low if you can. Force rebounds. There's ways to beat Shesterkin. Trying to snipe him is not one of them. You will once in a while, but not very often. Frank the Tank, beer number 2, sparkling water number 3. I only allow myself 1 alcoholic beverage per game during the playoffs, and I don't know which one I'm going to have tonight because I've got a variety. Jordan Stahl has slowly been getting more and more angry. He had 27 hits in the first round. I need to see how many he had in this one. With the way our PP has looked, park the big guy in front of the net. Whoever gets the next PP goal for the Canes, I'll buy their sweater. Okay, enjoy your I'm trying to think of someone obscure. Enjoy your well, no, he's not going to be in the lineup tonight. Rolling Rock. Damn, I ain't had one of those since I think I was in the military the last time I had a Rolling Rock. That was a long damn time ago. Hopefully scoring isn't back to back like last game. Couldn't count how many times I was so happy with scored and then turn around seconds later and score. Yeah, that's one of the things. If the Hurricanes can, like, one of the things the Canes used to be really good at with building momentum, like I said, they would build momentum with penalty kills. And then they would take that to the other end. They would score 5-on-5, or they'd score on the power play. And then let's not forget, as panicking as some of us were, myself included, on Tuesday night, Carolina nearly won that game twice shorthanded. They can be beaten. There's no way that I look at those last 2 games and say, oh, the Canes are cooked. Not yet. I think the biggest X factor for the Canes tonight is going to be Kochetkov. If he's rolling, the whole team in front of him is going to get galvanized and they're going to be good to go. I really, really, truly believe that. So let me just check and make sure nobody wants to join the show here real quick. Okay, yep. All right, cool. It's just me still. Sorry about that. You're stuck with me, guys. But yeah, Kochekov's going to be the biggest factor tonight. If he's playing really well, everyone in front of him is going to play even better. But I think these guys are going to be fired up. They're probably really pissed off that they lost, especially game 2, because that game was totally winnable, and they know it. They're pissed. They're going to come out. They're going to play hard, and they're going to do their best to win. And they know that they owe it to the fans. Not to mention, Maxime Comtois is trying to pull a Steph Nason and revitalize his career if he's in the lineup. I don't think he is. Most of these guys need contracts. Shea, Chatfield, Nason, a lot of these guys are pending UFAs. Slavin is a pending UFA the season after, but I would say his job is safe. It is pretty safe. I would be I'd say it's nearly impossible that he's going to walk. He's probably going to have 8.5 to 9 million, I would say, for 6 to 7 seasons. Let's see. Jersey Sean, what do you think the contingency plan is if they lose the series quickly despite all the games being close, like versus Florida last year? No injuries this year and a solid trade deadline acquisitions. So me and Sam Driscoll from Caniac Report were talking about that when I did the stream last night that went on until 11:30 at night. And that's why I didn't get up on time to go to the gym this morning. I think that he was right in his assessment of saying it depends on how you lose. So, like, if this goes to 7 and they lose by 1 goal, then at that point, it's not much of a different result than what you got from the 4-goal sweep in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think at that point, you try to not change too much. I think at that point, Brind'Amour I think he's already earned the right to keep his job. I think it's just a matter of hammering out, okay, where are we going to be at when it's over? And then that's going to be the deciding factor of the money for him and everything like that. Once that's done, the only thing about it is if this situation were to happen, I hate to say this because I know Jeff Daniels has been really important to this organization for a long time. He was the head coach of the Checkers at 1.2. If we lose another series by 4 one-goal games, something with the forwards has to change. I think that Tim Gleason's done a good job on the back end. We have lived off the defense for a very long time. And for the most part, the system works. And it seems like Brind'Amour finally bent on some stuff and made some changes that resulted in more clean entries, and everything started clicking a lot better after the players only meeting. And I think he had a lot to do with that. I think that maybe you have to look at getting some assistant coaching changes, hire a power play coach, because those are a thing. There's one I follow on X. His name is Andrew something. He posts some really cool stuff. Some changes will definitely need to be made. I don't know how drastic. If it's another 4-goal sweep, that's going to be almost a tougher question than if they go to 7 or if they lost even worse than that. Because if they got blown out the next 2 games, it's kind of an easier answer. It's like you got to make some changes. And the only other thing about that is Brind'Amour is really close to Gleason and Daniels, particularly Daniels. So it's and he always said he wanted his staff taken care of first. That's part of the reason that his contract isn't done. I think that his desire to have the coaching staff he wants may supersede his desire to be here. I don't know that for a fact. That's pure speculation on my part, that it's a possibility, not anything definitive. So I'm sure that there's a plan in place of some sort, because every time that it looked like there wasn't a plan, there has been, i.e. Dougie Hamilton walked. A lot of us thought well, there goes, half of our production from the blue line. They brought Tony in. Tony was great. They traded Tony out, and I had no idea they were bringing Burns in. The Brady Shea trade that happened back in 2020, I didn't even see that coming, but it was a great trade. They do pretty smart rentals, if you ask me. The Domi one looked like a good idea at the time. It took him a bit to fit in, but if it hadn't been for him, we get first rounded by Boston. Sammy Vatanen, because of the events of 2020, we'll never know how exactly that would have played out as far as him being a rental in the place of Dougie Hamilton. I'm sure that they've got some sort of flow chart up in the front office saying, if this happens, this is what we do next. But the difference is this year, everyone's healthy. Svechnikov's in the lineup. You don't have Pacioretty, but you do have Gensel and you do have Kuznetsov. If it's another 4-goal sweep, it's definitely a coaching problem at that point. This team is better than it ever has been. This is the best team in the history of the Carolina Hurricanes. They have never put a better team together than this. You look at this on paper and you look at it and you're like, this is a Hut team. It really is. There's no way that they should lose. Let's see. Frank the Tank, they want to win one together too. Yeah, that would be great, especially considering like it's pretty. I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion and it's inevitable, but Pesci's probably going to be gone. And he made it abundantly clear in the exit interviews last season that he wanted to stay, and a deal never got done. A lot of people think because I like Tony so much that I'm a Pesci hater. One, that's stupid because they're friends, and two, Brett Pesci's one of my favorite players ever. The only reason he's not on my 25th anniversary sweater is because the only ones they had at the eye when I finally had the money to buy one were Slavin or Burns ones, and I decided to get a Slavin one. I'd say you'll notice the effort tonight in a way you haven't all year. Yeah, I think that considering how angry they are about losing those first two games, especially considering they were inches away from winning them multiple times, two good shorthanded chances away from winning them, dragged it to two overtimes against the President's Trophy winner and came that close to winning and didn't do it. Yeah, you're about to see some shit tonight. I really genuinely believe that. I said they were going to win game two, and they came marginally close to it, so I wasn't off by much. When I said that they were going to win game two, if they got blown out, I'd be like, you know what? I think I'm just going to shut the fuck up and hide until the season's over. But we're close. Hopefully 3 periods worth. That's been one of the biggest problems the entire postseason. I don't feel like we're seeing as many 60-minute efforts. If we see them play against the Rangers like they did against the Islanders in game 2 and game 5, Carolina will win the series in 6 games. If they shut down the power play, they will win the series in 6 games. That's pretty much all there is to it. I genuinely believe that because like I was talking about with the pregame show yesterday, for those of you who watched, I don't look at special teams as separate entities anymore. Instead of looking at power play 0 to 100% and penalty kill 0 to 100%, I look at them as net gains and net losses with each other. So I look at special teams on a 0 to 200% scale. So Carolina's not getting the net positives that they used to get out of the penalty kill. And by extension, they're not getting the ones out that they used to get on the power play. The Rangers are getting all that. There's only so much shorthanded time to go around, and the Rangers are making the most of theirs as opposed to Carolina making the most of theirs. So that's going to be the next thing that they have to correct. I think it's about the storm outside. That's a good sign. Sounds like some thunder. All right. I think the chippiness will hit a high at MSG. Anything we did was a call. I don't see that happening tonight, especially with how game 2 ended. I'm shocked if the whistles are heavy. Yeah, I see that too. And then it's like the Trouba elbow. That, per the rules, that should have been a match penalty, and he should have got a vacation because the rule is written to say intent to injure, not result of injury. So I'm going to try to stay off social media tonight. Can't handle the toxicity with Rags fans. Yeah, dude, there's one particular Rangers podcast that I really, really don't like, and they all live in North Carolina, I'm pretty sure. I'm 99% sure they all live there. And if you scroll through their page, find the last 5 games they lost in the regular season. Every fucking time it's the refs. It's never, our goaltending wasn't good enough, our power play wasn't good enough. No, it's always the fucking refs. They literally appeal to the lowest common denominator with hockey fans. But back to the chippiness. Yeah. With Carolina having home ice and last change and everything, more favorable matchups, I think we're going to see the most physical game we're going to see unless the series goes to 7 games. And I imagine you will see the most bloodthirsty, hate-filled game 7 you can imagine between these two teams. They just, you can tell how much they hate each other more and more every time that they play. The one downside of that is, even if we lose most of our UFAs, Carolina has a lot of good, young, exciting prospects that will be ready within the next couple of years. Nikishin's not even here yet. We'll be good for years to come. Within the next 2 or 3 seasons, you will see an even better team than the one you see right now. When this team is captained by Sebastian Aho, and Jacob Slavin's under contract for basically the rest of his career. Alexander Nikishin is here. Scott Morrow, in my opinion, maybe Tony DeAngelo, who he'll be closer to 30, but he also doesn't have a ton of mileage on him. He could play for a long time. Svechnikov, KK, if he can return to form, will be a great asset. Drury, this team is going to have the vast majority of its players under 30, especially in the forwards, and be really, really good. Felix Unger-Sorm, who I'm going to be watching as much as I can at the World Hockey Championship because he's playing for his home country of Sweden. This team will be better in a couple of seasons than it is now. Give it about 3 seasons, And I think it will be so good you don't even have to think about getting rentals at the deadline for at least a little while. You might get someone to supplement the bottom six or somebody to, come in there if you need somebody for an injury, something like that. Sure. But for the most part, they did a great job at the prospect pool. The front office can be criticized for a lot of stuff, not the depth chart if you're talking through the entire organization. All right, Kyler says 100%. According to the book, Truba should have had a suspension hearing. They let it go. Yet when Shea had a gray area play, well, we saw it. Yeah, that's the thing I don't understand. And the boarding against Aho. I do not understand this league. And now, that being said, there's a couple of times where Carolina did some stuff. I'm like, I don't know if that should have been a penalty or not. And Paul Bisnett, who I don't know what to think of him sometimes. Sometimes he says some really smart stuff, and sometimes I'm kind of like, bro, are you drooling on yourself? He said that the standard had been set in overtime when the penalty against Trocheck by Shea occurred. And I'm like, bro, someone literally almost broke their neck trying to throw a flying elbow, and absolutely nothing got done. So I don't know what the standard is and isn't anymore, but he was saying the standard was set in overtime. No, you set a standard at the beginning of the game and you stick to it. If you're going to call it tight, call one penalty on each team in the first couple of minutes, go to the benches and be like, okay, boys, that's how it's going to be, and then let it go. And we're friends with the Wolves again, which time has always been official. That front office for them treats it like it's the NHL. Yeah, and the best part about that is we control hockey operations now. Wendell Young is not going to be their GM anymore, but he's still working for them, which, it's cool to see nobody, lose their paycheck, and he loves that organization. I think he genuinely wanted what was best for it, but at the same time, if you don't have NHL prospects, take the NHL prospects out of the AHL, it becomes a very different league. It doesn't look anything like it does now. Essentially, it would be like get a really, really good ECHL team and put them up against the Chicago Wolves of last year. The ECHL team might win. I'm not even kidding. Let's see. Do you think Jake Gensel flips the switch and just starts shooting the puck? Guy has been an assist machine lately. Considering the 2 goals he got in game 2, I think that that's the way he's headed. Yes, I think that he's going to start shooting the puck a whole lot more. There was this weird hesitation with him in shooting that was glaring in game 1 against the Rangers. And it was pretty bad in the previous series. But in game 1 with the Rangers, I'm kind of like, bro, hit the R2 button. And now he's doing it. So I think that if Gensel can get an early goal, that's going to skyrocket his confidence even more because he is shooting the puck now. We got plenty of assist machines on this team. We brought Gensel in to be a sniper. Gensel needs to pull the trigger every chance that he gets where it looks remotely good. If there's one guy on this team other than Jarvis and maybe Svechnikov who can consistently have a chance to beat Shesterkin with clean looks, I would say it's Gensel. And I'll throw an honorable mention in there to Aho as well. But it seems like Aho has stepped away from the individual effort offense side of things, and he's going more towards the playmaking side, which is a good thing because now he's got a bunch of weapons around him. And I'm going to refresh the page here to see if they've updated what the lines look like for the Canes. And nope, no lines for the Canes yet. Let's see if there's any changes for the Rangers. Nope, they're still the same as I expected. All righty. I'm feeling a strong game from Kuzi. He's an all-business kind of guy. I don't see a world where he doesn't rebound after being benched. Yeah, I'm still kind of about that decision. And Strogi, I saw your comment that you wrote on the video, and I see what you're saying about that too, like the video from last night. I think that if you can relegate Kuzi mostly to the power play and offensive zone draws, that's where he shines the most. Yeah, he's been a little bit brutal on certain points defensively, but I feel like we've got enough defensive competency up and down the lineup where it was okay to bring someone in who has 100 times more value with the puck than without it. And he's a great distributor. He wins offensive zone faceoffs in particular pretty well. His faceoff percentage might not reflect that, but he seems to win them more in the offensive zone than he does anywhere else. That's also where he takes most of his. So I'm feeling a big game from Kuzi too. That would be really awesome if he had one. Let's see if there's any other news or updates or anything like that. Oh boy, I have a lot of notifications on X. By the way, if y'all didn't see BG Edit's latest photo with Kochekov and it says "Welcome to the Jungle" and it looks like a flooded like rainforest in front of PNC, it's one of the best ones he's ever made, and all of his are good. All right, let's see what else we got here. No, I think we're gonna be fine, guys. I really do. Now one thing I would like for you guys to let me know, and I'm gonna post this over on X too, and I would like to hear the opinions of you guys on this as well. Frank, beer number 3. I'm still nursing this sparkling water. I haven't decided what I want to have tonight. I'm either gonna have a finished long drink or I have I have a box of these still. That's gonna be it's gonna be one of those two, and I typically wait until the third period to have that. See, Kyler says, in my honest opinion, I don't even want to say our worst defenseman with the demon and forwards. We need Burns to drink a Red Bull between periods. Yeah, he's looked a little slow. He's had a couple of really bad turnovers. I think he's getting a little bit more heat online than what he should get. That's one thing that I hate about hockey fans. They love to scapegoat guys. I remember I was back in the day. I was really guilty of that when it came to Cam Ward and Eric Stahl. I owe Eric Stahl about a million apologies. But I didn't. I was too young and naive to understand. Wow, they built an AHL team around him. No wonder he's not producing the way that we thought that he would. And one thing I would like to hear from you guys down in the chat. So I've been starting the pregame shows roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours ahead of the actual game itself. On Saturday, I'm thinking about going for 4 o'clock so that way the home fans have time to get there and everything like that. Now, in the future, maybe just for road games, in the future, would you rather me have the show here until right before the game starts if I went all the way until 7 o'clock and just cut it off, or would you guys rather listen to Steve Levy, Mark Messier, Paul Bisnett, and Anson Carter? You tell me in the comments. He's still battling like hell. He's trying, but he's an actual step too slow. Stahl was in game 1, but if he can pick up, so can Burns. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the saying that they had in the military. It was something about always fear an old man in a profession where a lot of men die young or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the saying was, but to put it in hockey terms, never count out a man who is at that age in a sport that most people that get picked up to play don't play more than 5 years. Hedel in the lineup for New York Rangers tonight. Oh, shit. Hedel on the ice for warmups. I was not expecting that. Oh, they're going to get a boost from that. That's shit. Well, you know what? We have a better team now than what we did back then. So do they. But ours is miles better than what it used to be. So if you can beat the Rangers with Hedel in the lineup, and we have no idea if he's actually truly 100%. He's a much better player than Rempe, probably even just a fraction of Hedel. So now the Burns comment is heavier. Yeah, a little bit, because Hedel can pick apart defenseman. He's done it before. I've always thought that Hedel's been a very underrated player. So let me see if they're putting him in the line, or if they've. Okay, so Rempe's out there too. Hedel's in the warm up. So I guess that it's going to be a game time decision which one goes in. So I wonder how that'll shake up their lines. No other tweets from the Canes yet regarding their lineup. So I wonder if they're going to change anything. I wanted them to change up the forwards, but yeah, let's see. I got a Bulgogi Bowl waiting on me here in a little bit, so I only got a few more minutes. So yeah, we'll cut this off here in a couple of minutes. We'll do about 6 or 7 more. Yeah, see, my buddies that are at the game are just saying he's just warming up. So we will see what happens. I personally don't think the Rangers should put him in, just because you have no idea what you're getting with Hedel right now. You know what you're getting with Rempe, even though he only plays like 8 minutes a night or whatever it is. With no skate, I doubt Rod starts the blender unless the start is flat. That's the thing I'm worried about. That's why I was saying the first couple of shifts are going to be really indicative of how this game is going to go. If Carolina comes out swinging in the first 2 or 3 shifts, take a deep breath. If they don't, the Braves are doing pretty good. Let's see. No more comments right now. All righty. So, yeah. So what I think I'll start doing with the pregame shows, at least when the team's on the road, I might start having them a little bit closer to game time or a little bit earlier in advance. You guys let me know what you think I should do there. The one on Saturday, I'm thinking 4 o'clock. because we might go out to watch the game. We might watch it here. Either way, I'm going to try to do an extensive, let's see. Ruff just reported warm-up lines. Thank you. I'll look at that right now. I've only got one monitor at the moment. Eventually, when I get to it, it'll be a little bit easier. Let's see. Let's fucking go, Kane. See y'all on the flip side. Hey, you have fun at the game, buddy. Be safe, and don't start any fights. But if you have to finish one, be my guest. BG, let's go. That's my boy. See y'all Saturday at 4. Yes, I'm thinking Saturday at 4 is when I think I'll do the other pregame show, and that one I'll have some time to really get some preparation in. And if it's a 2-1 series, then I'll have a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about, like comparing the metrics from game 2 to game 3, because I just didn't have time to put any metrics together or anything like that. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We in here appreciate the love on the graphic drop earlier too, dude. Your graphics are absolutely fucking amazing. Alrighty. Yeah, let's see. How long we got? Let's see, Kyler, BG, if I could run Photoshop like you, I'd never leave the house, brother. Yeah, dude, that guy, he makes some really, really awesome stuff. This frame right here and all this and my background when I have like the metrics up and everything like that, it's pretty awesome shit. Like he made all that for me and the other thing is when he redesigned my logo, because I had that old one that I just kind of threw together a couple of like copyright free images and everything. I told him what I wanted to do, and he said, let me handle this. He took it in a completely different direction, and I'm really glad he did. It turned out way better than I could ever do, but that's why he's the pro at this. All right, Travis, I think your comment will be the last one, then I'm going to get out of here. Would you consider streaming while the game's going on? I know I have to work on the weekend, so I just listen to Mike and Trip. I don't think I'm going to do that personally. I like to relegate my stuff to around game time and not during game time. I have considered maybe jumping on during intermissions at times. I don't know. I might do that in the future. We will see. But for the most part, I think that I'm going to for the most part, I think I'm probably just going to stick with doing pre and post game shows. I may expand where I'm not just doing the pre and post game shows during the playoffs. I'll probably do them like maybe during the regular season, not for every single game, but depending on like what I have going on with day job, life, all that type of stuff, then it'll be a different story. So I don't think I'll ever actually do anything during the games. No. I plan on doing a post-game show tonight if the game doesn't go on too late. If it goes to a bunch of overtimes, then I'm not going to be able to do it. And if I have one tonight, it'll only be like 10, 15 minutes or something like that. So we'll see. All right, guys. I think that I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to eat a bulgogi bowl. And I will bring this comment up before I go. Man, you all the best. Thank you tons always. Love this team and what you're doing. Bro, time to lock the fuck in. Let's go, Canes. Let's go, Canes. Let's go, Canes. Yeah, I'm not worried yet. Like I said, if they come out and they have a good couple of shifts, then we'll be all right. Cool. All right, everybody. I'll see y'all later.